Howdy.
Hey,
What's up?
well, there you are.
Oh, here I is. What's up, Jordan? You look frozen.
No, that's just how he always looks.
Yeah,
What's up,
that's just thing.
Coach?
That's his thinking. That's his thinking face.
Yeah. Oh,
Millicent,
there's
what's up?
Millicent. She got
Yes.
looking shady.
Look at that. What's
I had
happening?
I had
Hey,
to wear a hat. I knew Kaumil was gonna wear a hat. So I had to take off the regular.
definitely. Oh,
I wear the BBD like every day into my
that's
daughter's
Miss-
private school, all the things.
that's amazing. Oh, cool. What's happening?
uh,
How's everybody?
Good, very, very good. How have you been,
No, I
man?
feel that.
Been good. Been good, man. Jordan, I think you're not. You can't. I don't know what's up with Jordan's, but it's all good. Can you guys see him or hear him or anything?
He's frozen. I don't know. Jordan, why don't you see if you can reconnect if you can hear us? I don't know if he can hear us.
Well, worst case scenario, tell him I said what's up.
All right, I will for sure.
Yeah.
Um, well,
Man, it's good to see you. Hear you from both.
now,
Yeah.
by the way, we're here with Kaumil Gajrawala.
Are we on? Are we live?
Yeah, we're live. We're not live. I mean, it's being recorded. I mean, it's not like people are out there listening.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like
no, I understand.
it's Earth to Kaumil,
Just let me know when I'm supposed to start acting like a grown up.
Earth to Kaumil, Kaumil, beam, beam,
I
beam.
need warning in like a 3, 2, 1 countdown or something.
Okay, 3. All right. So, what were we talking about?
Yeah, remember.
My COVID fog is so bad, right, Millicent?
I mean, yeah, so is mine.
We can cut this in post. What I was going to ask you is, so you cover a lot of stuff now. I was looking like it's not just beverages and tobacco.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like household products, and I mean, do you cover Peloton?
Yeah, we do lots of stuff. I mean, obviously we've known each other forever, and I've done beverages forever. But I guess the big change in recent months is we've launched on what we call wellness as its own space. And it's one of those things you think about. All these years, all of these companies that we cover are spending all this money on wellness sort of related items. And there was no one, there's an analyst for beer, there's an analyst for food, there's an analyst for internet, but there wasn't one for wellness. It's like a real trend. So I said, why don't we just do wellness? That way, Peloton's a good example, something that we cover. And given that we focus on all of wellness, all of fitness, we think about how that Peloton consumer is the Michelob Ultra consumer, is the fitness energy consumer like a Celsius. We can look across some of these segments and figure out how to help investors make money on this like major trend that's existed for a long time, but definitely coming out of COVID is going to be accelerating.
For sure, I would think so. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so
that's new. It may not be as much fun as beer, but so far so good.
Yeah. Well, and let's talk about beer. Like, do you cover Molson Coors?
Yeah, I cover Molson Coors.
So you cover Molson Coors, Constellation, and Sam.
Yep.
And do you cover AB?
ABI is covered by Sanjeet. I co-cover it with him, so obviously I'm paying attention to what's happening.
And Sanjeet, he's in London, right? Or
he's in London. Yeah.
Okay, I got you. I figured it out. Okay. Well, good. Well, what do you think about Sam? Is that sustainable?
I think so. I think what's interesting about something like a Sam is, or look at any industry, all of these every industry you're looking at is getting disrupted in some sort of way. And perhaps Sam has been disrupting since they started the business, whatever it was, 30 years ago. And each time there's a new thing, they seem to be at the front of it, and seltzer is the new thing. But we also know that when cider became important, they got a 50 share of cider and they dominate in tea and they started craft. So if what's happening in beer is the same as what's happening in most other industries where we're going through this transition, it's likely to be the companies that can really adapt to the transition that are going to be the best positioned. And it looks like it's not a seltzer story. It's a story about the whole history of how they've built the company kind of up and down the street, hand selling for whatever the next innovation was, as opposed to just driving more of an industrial model that's more driven by distribution and resource allocation and such.
Well,
I think it continues to work.
Yeah, I mean, every time you bet against that company, they seem to come out with something in the next cycle, and you're like, oh, shit, yeah, don't bet against Jim Cook.
Yeah.
I've always, like, in the back of my mind for the last several years have thought that that somebody was going to buy Molson Coors. I don't know why I think that. I mean, not they could just easily buy someone else, but I always thought like a Heineken or somebody like that would either merge or buy. Is there any chance of something like that happening, or are we done in the beer industry with big deals?
I think the major M&A in beer is behind us. Obviously, we've had some mega deals. If you look at the beer industry globally, you'll find that Heineken and ABI have kind of worked it out where each one has disproportionately high share in largely in different markets. And so the markets where ABI is a bit smaller, Heineken has the 60, 70 share, whatever it is. Does Heineken really want to go head to head with an ABI, buying into a company that has 20 some share? ABI has a 40, obviously, plus whatever you add. Plus, if you're going to deploy capital, if you're going to spend a lot of money, there's might be a lot of good things going on at Molson Coors, and there are, but you also will be buying, two brands that are the bulk of that portfolio. And is that where you want to spend it versus anywhere else in the world where you might be able to invest the money?
Well, to be fair, you're also buying these giant, outdated breweries with antiquated infrastructure and rusty equipment. I mean, got to look at the bright side, Kaumil.
Well, that's true. Retro is cool. So
retro's cool. Just takes twice per barrel to run the damn thing.
Is that true? I didn't know that.
I don't know. I mean, shit, I'm just pulling things. I'm not an analyst like you. I don't have to be always right.
Yeah, right.
This is Beer Business Daily, where we're mostly right. That should be our motto.
I think on the analyst side and on the investing side, we're usually shooting for about 51%. And then you make money. More likely to make money than lose it if you get it right.
That's right. Well, yeah. Well, what about? I mean, let me ask you this: it's like, see, I don't keep up really with valuations that much, but like on a Molson Coors, they've had just really bad luck, if you want to call it that, with the computer situation, and then the ice storm, and there's kind of these one-off events. I guess is that already built into the price of the stock, that people kind of know that those aren't permanent?
Yeah, I mean, it was bad luck. They were just disproportionately positioned to a series of things, and cyber attacks, it's happening to everybody, right? That's not unique to Molson Coors. It's just unfortunate. They came out pretty quickly, told us about it. Numbers got readjusted fairly quickly. Share price is up nicely since that moment. So I think the market's looking past that.
Yeah.
But it's just bad luck. And, they're just going to have to work through it and play through it. They expect to recover any of the sales they lost in the first half of the quarter and the back half, in the first quarter and the back half of the year. We'll see if that happens.
How can you? I mean, not to be rude, but I mean, that's kind of my job, is to be rude. But I mean, once those sales are gone, it's not like, because there was no Miller Lite, I just didn't drink beer and I saved up my craving for beer, and now I'm going to have twice as much Miller Lite.
Right.
No, of course not. I drank something else, and then now I'm going to drink the normal amount of Miller Lite. It's not like you save up.
You're a challenge. Yeah.
Man, I cannot wait until they get supplied Miller Lite. I'm going to sit and I'm going to drink 50 of them in a 24-hour period. That is not how it works. I mean, for some people, maybe.
You should give it a try. I'd say if anybody could,
yeah,
might be you.
Yeah, I don't need my gout. Let's not get into my medical problems. Right, Biscuit? Oh boy, we could be here all day and night listing those. Well, what about Constellation? Can they just do no wrong? Talk about lucky. I mean, Well, let's talk this brewery, this kind of brewery that they finally are able to build doesn't seem like it's ideally located.
Well, I don't think it's set yet. They just have generally seemed to have agreed on an area. So we don't know what's happening there, but they have enough capacity for the next period of years. This is about setting themselves up for some period after that. So it'll be fine for the next period of year. Obviously, we're tight now. Everybody's tight on everything, which is fine. But I think that brewery I think is very unfortunate and would have saved them a bunch of money in freight. Wherever the new one goes, it's going to cost more than whatever Mexicali would have been. And we don't really know exactly where it'll be yet. We do know that it's not in near-term issue for capacity. This is something for a bit. This is for later on.
Right.
In terms of do no wrong, sure, companies can, right? And like they got the hot hand. I think it's helpful that there's only really, and I'm probably somebody will disagree with me on this, but if I think of categories or brands of scale, it's Ultra, it's Especial, and it's Seltzer. You got three major things growing in beer, and you take those, the two brands, and you take that one category, they could take share for a long time, especially because the three are taking share from beyond just beer, which means the ability for them to continue to grow at the pace they have is probably there, and it's probably there for a period of years.
Right. They seem to just, I mean, they've been pulling rabbits also out of their hats for many, many years. I mean, gosh, I remember 20 years ago, people saying, "Oh, it's a house of cards. It's a house of cards," but they always managed to, to pay their debt down and get her done, as we say. So
yeah, they made mistakes, but they were able to. Well, it's helpful when you have a core business that's growing at the rate that their core business has been growing. So the mistakes, like the Ballast Point, didn't hurt too much, and so they were able to kind of keep going. But think of it this way: Constellation, for all the growth that they've had over the last whatever number of years, was it 1992 when was like their trough? But for all the growth and all the size that they have had, most of it up until about maybe 3 or 4 years ago was just a series of brands, very lightly distributed in terms of package, in terms of channel. Now, a couple of years ago, they just started innovating a little bit, which means all of this success over multiple decades and the innovation just is starting now. It just started a couple of years ago. Now you're seeing some, Familiar, Premier, obviously Seltzer, Refresca, and you've got this mix of things. And it was probably the right time to start it because so much of their growth had come from distribution. And as that starts to fade, you're going to want innovation. You don't want to just launch innovation after it's faded. You want to launch it some years before the distribution is faded, so that as the incremental points of distribution gains start to decrease, then you have brands that have now been there for a little while that you can really start to activate. And I think that transition for Constellation was a notable one a few years ago.
Yeah, I think so, as they reach distribution saturation, but they're still not even there yet. I think they're under distributed even to this day in some markets. Not all.
It feels like their share differential by region might be the biggest in most in beer.
For sure. I mean, it's amazing, and it's weird where it is popular. You just never know. And Modelo, I don't. That train, I mean, it's outselling Coors Light and Miller Lite in a lot of markets, and it's just unbelievable.
Yeah. And it's getting close nationally. It's going to get there nationally with, I don't know, a third or a half of the markets where they're bigger.
Right. What about, do you guys cover cannabis?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Dang it, Kaumil.
The only thing I'd say is it's feeling like the Canopy investment that Constellation made, which was looking really hairy a couple of years ago, is probably going to be worth a lot more than maybe any of us thought not that long ago from the Constellation perspective.
So what you're saying is that I was right until I was wrong.
And then you were right again.
Well, I'm always right in the end. That goes without saying. Well, no, I was right, and then now I'm wrong. If they're in for the long haul. And Jen got a great interview. Was it with Canopy?
With David, anyway. I think he was with David.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It was with Canopy.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you should read Craft Business Daily.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It comes out in the evening, so it doesn't get in the way of Beer Business Daily. You must have time by then.
Yeah, what the hell am I doing in the afternoons? Walking my dog, right, Vicky? That's right. What? So what about Diageo? God, they just continue to kick our ass in beer. It's just unbelievable. They're always playing chess, and we're playing checkers.
It's a different ball. I think
3D chess.
Yeah, it feels like in the spirits business and the spirits mentality is a very different sort of business than beer. And I think they approach things differently, especially as it relates to innovation, the way they innovate. I think because the brands don't turn as much, you maybe have to work them differently, sell them a bit differently. And I think that for a long time, beer was this business that, the returns are never going to be as good as they were in spirits. But when they kind of told you what they were up to when they changed their name. Was that 4 years ago now? 3 years ago? They built a brewery, they changed their name. They basically were telling us like, hey, beer in the United States is going to be very important. There's something we're going to do here.
Right.
I think you're now starting to see some of that. You're starting to see some of the benefits of that effort, those efforts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's I've been doing this for over 20 years, and every single year everybody's saying Diageo is going to sell off Guinness, the beer, globally. And every year they say, no, we're not. And now I'm starting to believe them.
Think so? I don't know. I'd be shocked myself.
20 consecutive years.
I feel like owning Guinness is like owning Jack Daniels.
Yeah. Why would you ever sell it?
I would never sell it. Yeah. But no one's asking me. It'd be nice if I owned it, but I don't. So they'll do what they want. From my perspective, I think there's very few brands that are that special. Yeah. And if you have something like that, it's really hard to put proper numbers around what that thing is worth.
Yeah. What other brands are like that?
I think the luxury space, look at something like a Chanel, a Louis Vuitton, like some of these names that have such longevity, they're going to be around a lot longer than most other things are going to be around. I think Jack Daniels is one of them. Guinness is one of them. There's very few. But
yeah, maybe Heineken.
Maybe
Budweiser, Corona. Yeah. Maybe Chanel Gulf Coast.
Chanel Gulf Coast.
That's a good one.
It's a great nickname, by the way. That is.
Oh my gosh! Don't egg it on.
So are y'all still working from home? No office visits?
We're just starting to open up. We're just starting to do stuff. If you host an event in San Antonio, I'm happy to come.
Okay.
As long as we can go to Bohannon's for some akiyushi.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Actually, we're hosting something tomorrow night if you can get here by tomorrow night. But
maybe we need distributors that could fuel up the jet and help me
yeah. I do, but jet fuel's high right now, Kaumil.
Yeah.
I gotta save my favors.
All right, we're starting to go to the office more, starting to travel more, see people more, events more. It's all starting to open itself up, just like we're hearing kind of in most of the country. It's like things are back. I'm in New Jersey, and if you're in New Jersey, no one's wearing masks inside anymore, including staff. Like we're on the way back.
Yeah.
Awesome. I saw your kids were back in school. Is that then a relief?
Yeah, kids are back in school, which is a major relief for both of us. They got used to routine, I guess, because kids are resilient, but they needed to be not
with
in the
other
house.
kids. Yeah. Masks are not really seen that much anymore.
Yeah.
I wear mine around because I'm always coughing and hacking up stuff. And I don't want people to think that I have the plague.
You're like, I have antibodies. I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm
it's not like it used to be.
Yeah, I'm like, I had this before COVID, okay? I was coughing my germs all over the place way before this.
It's true.
Oh man, I tell you what, this COVID, I don't pick my nose anymore. Cured that. Got to look at the bright side.
Oh no.
And I can't remember shit. Like I will be talking to somebody and then I'm like, I go to say a name and I'm like, oh my God, what's his name? It's terrible.
Wow.
Yeah,
No,
it
it's
is
too
not.
bad.
It's not. Harry's is more, he can't remember anything and he's winded easily.
I'm winded.
Yeah.
That part's new. So it's feeling.
Yeah, I mean, Kaumil and I, we've traveled all over Europe. He knows. He knows how slow I move.
Well, it's slower now. Trust me.
It's relative, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, so that's one more thing I wanted to talk about. Like, so for those sitting at home, Kaumil and I would go on these road shows occasionally, like every other year for several years to Europe, mostly Western Europe countries. We'd hit like 5 countries in 5 days. It was a hectic schedule. We'd have meetings all day, run to the airport, fly to the next country, go out that night for a nice dinner and go out, and then wake up early, repeat 5 times. It was exhausting, but we were young and we were in love with Europe and the romance. I mean, not with each other, but I do like Kaumil and we had a good time.
Yeah,
Anyway,
good time.
when I try to explain to people like, well, what did you do? And I was like, I don't can you explain why why? I don't even understand why.
We mainly went so that we can go to Freddy's bar at the Hotel de la Europe and have some of the best Heineken you're ever going to have in the world. But what we spent our time talking about beer, meeting with investors and talking about beer. It's pretty simple, pretty innocent, but it was pretty intense because there's lots of people who want to talk about beer, and they preferred, rather than do it in groups, they do it alone. And so we would meet with whatever 5 people a day or whatever it ended up being, and then we'd have fun every night.
Yeah, I hope they got something out of it. I mean,
Well, they kept inviting us back. I don't know how many times did we go? 5, 6?
yeah, I guess so. And half the times I didn't understand their questions, so I just would answer what I thought questions should have been asked.
I have noticed one thing, working with Harry, being in his life for all these years, that nobody really wants to talk about much unless it's with Harry. He will put me on a call and it's always asking me how they can talk to Harry. Everybody wants to talk to Harry. They don't really want to fool with me or other people. They want to talk to Harry about beer.
Wow.
Harry about beer.
That's right.
Yeah. It was man, we did a lot. What were some of we went to some great bars. Freddy's bar was great. Cafe Opera in Stockholm.
Was that in Stockholm or Copenhagen? No, it was Stockholm.
Stockholm.
It was
Home
light
house.
when we walked out of there, but it was only like midnight.
Yeah.
I was like, Kaumil, the sun's coming up. We've been out all night.
Yeah.
Like,
We were absolutely convinced we missed our flight and everything.
Yeah. He's like, we're fucking at
Holy
the
shit,
North
it's
Pole, you
daytime.
idiot. The nights are like 15 minutes, dumbass. That was bizarre.
Yeah.
I cracked a rib that night. I'm always cracking my ribs. That was a bad one.
Yeah, paying a bar tab.
Yeah. Should have let you pay.
Should have let you pay. Should have let me pay. Yeah. Trying to.
Boy, the banks, they don't pay for those boondoggles anymore, do they? Not so much.
Well, they weren't really boondoggles. We did do a lot of work during the day.
No, I don't mean to call,
I think we can, I don't know. Where do you want to go? Fine. We'll go. Let's go visit somebody.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I like Europe.
Stretch first this time. Got to make sure you're fit enough to handle it.
I've been walking the dog, so I'm doing okay. When I say walk the dog, I mean actually walking the dog, not euphemistically.
Okay, because last you told me you were jumping in your Tesla and it was driving around for you with the dog in the back.
That's still happening.
That does happen. I actually let her drive sometimes. Well, she thinks she's driving, but the Tesla's actually driving. But she just sits there. She thinks, and I'm like, Biscuit, you're so stupid. It's like putting her paws on a player piano, and she thinks she's playing. So dumb. Anyway, enough about my dog.
That's why dogs are great.
I know, they're so dumb.
What do you see in terms of recovery? Is it faster than, are you hearing the same that we're hearing, which is faster than expected, almost everywhere, California on its way?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, off premise is hurt, but that's expected, and it's I kind of thought it'd be hurt more, to be honest with you, given the comps.
Right,
But but on premise is roaring. At least it is around here. I mean, it's just packed, and I there's a lot fewer accounts, but boy, I think the volumes is creeping back up.
Yeah, we're seeing that in New York as well. Duckhorn reported last night really good numbers. I think their volumes were up 40%, and they're almost a quarter of their business is in California, which is just now in the process of starting to turn itself on. So if you're putting up really good numbers before your biggest market is really fully turned on, probably tells you we're probably in for a hot summer.
Yeah, I mean, you should check our podcast yesterday. It's entitled "Hot Girl Summer." This is going to be the big one. This is going to be the big one. Hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husbands, because they're going to be doing crazy shit all up in here.
We'll get some good songs written about it, like summer of
Yes.
'69 type of songs. There'll be songs this summer.
Summer of 21 makes you feel like you want to still be young.
But we don't have to write the song right this second.
Yeah.
There'll be something.
Yeah, I'm thinking of things that rhyme, and I shouldn't go further. Just put it that way.
Although you are a pretty good singer, I don't think a lot of people know that.
Oh, well, they do. They do. They do around. If they hang around any of the karaoke bars in San Antonio.
If you hang around any hole in the wall shit bar in San Antonio, you know who he is, because he sings "Creep." This is by Radiohead, and people actually know it. And then he points to me the whole time. It was like, he goes out to my 22-year-old, and I'm like, oh my god.
Biscuit's our top data analyst. You can see she's crunching numbers as we speak, right in her head.
Those your little analyses on the notebooks are a major hit.
I know.
Haven't done them in a while.
I know. We're gonna bring them back. I was thinking of that yesterday. Right, Bisky? Been lazy to get you out. All right. Well, thanks for coming on with us.
Yeah,
we're doing it every day. Don't forget, July 19th, Distributor Productivity Summit, where we're going to talk about how to streamline operations at beer distributorships and cola bottlers across the country. Go to beernet.com, sign up, or call the number on your screen. This is a robot. This is a mind control robot telling you to sign up today. Beep, burp, burp, beep, burp, burp. Biscuit, do not be alarmed. Do not be scared.
You should do some ASMR for tomorrow. Tomorrow's the end of tomorrow's podcast.
ASMR, ASMR. What is ASMR again?
I'll let you look it up. Don't worry about it.
Why do you kids always trick me into doing things, you young whippersnappers? We'll cut this out in post. Well, anyway, thanks for coming on here, Kaumil. Appreciate it. Millicent, you too. Have a good afternoon, and thank you for drinking beer.
See you, man.
Bye.